Welcome to VezaTalks podcast. Tune in as we delve into the digital world of entrepreneurship and uncover the strategies and tactics of successful online business leaders. Today, we have Jack Hopkins on. He's the CEO of Testosterone, and his YouTube channel is called CEO of Testosterone. Jack started his YouTube channel about a year ago, I believe, and I have seen him grow from a couple hundred thousand, well, a couple hundred to maybe a couple thousand subs to 77,000 subs now. And he's involved in the masculinity space, and I really wanted to have him on. He's by far the youngest person that I'm going to be interviewing, but I'm super excited to have him on. Welcome, Jack.
Pleasure to be on, Mario. Pleasure to be on and chatting with you today.
Awesome. So, Jack and I met about 5 months ago in Koh Samui in Thailand, and I was following his channel, and I was really impressed with not only the content but also his ambition and his energy, and watching his channel grow. And so I wanted to reach out to him and support him in whichever way I could, because I remember when I was younger, I didn't have that many mentors, and that was really important to me. So today I want to talk a little bit about, one, how to grow a YouTube channel. I think that's really important. Two, the content that you create, and you're an incredible content creator. Three, how you manage, or at least initially, without a team, to basically, shoot your content and be able to, optimize your landing pages and optimize your website. And I know that you have some products that you sell in the space, and really interesting stuff that interests me. For example, testosterone in itself, right, as a male, and then whatever else comes up, it'll be a great chat. So, Jack,
awesome.
First of all, take me through. I know you're from England originally. So, what made you leave England and throw in a hat and basically move to Thailand and start a business? What was that? What was the thing that broke you, or what was the thing that inspired you to kind of start the whole entrepreneurial journey?
Well, I was just sort of making my way from when I was younger. When I was going through school, I really wanted to be an actor, and that was what I sort of went went for. I was going to auditions in London a few times a week. I had an agent in London. I'd lived in the States previously for 3 years. I'd done some acting there. Come back to London, and then in my head, it was always, you're going to be a big actor. That was always what I told myself. That's going to be the plan. And then as I went through auditions, I faced a lot of rejection. I wasn't a particularly great actor, to be honest with you, and I didn't prepare very well for my auditions. So I was always getting turned down. And as I got to 18, it came to that point where you're like, do I choose to go to university? Do I stay at home and keep doing these auditions and going to London? And at that point, I was just growing up and wanted to do my own thing. So I had to leave home, really, because I was being so hard to manage in the house. So I ended up at university, got into very much a party lifestyle, dropped out of university, but stayed in the city I'd moved to, got into sales as a way of just funding the party of having that sort of lifestyle, and got into a relationship that wasn't set up in the right way, bad dynamic, just not a good relationship, wrong time for me. And I ended up just out of shape in the 9 to 5, thinking, damn, I've really kind of gone far away from the dreams I had of being an actor or being a personality. When you're thinking about it, every day's the same. So I was just kept thinking about it, and I was thinking about it for a couple of years. And then eventually it got to a point where pinnacle for me was quitting alcohol. I did a very strict 6 months off alcohol, which gave me my weekends back to start thinking. I started saving some money, and I started having to think about what I wanted to do. And I'd watched the film The Beach with Leonardo DiCaprio, where he goes off to Thailand, and that had always been a big inspiration for me. So I was like, all right, Thailand's the place. I'd gotten into fighting Muay Thai, so I wanted to do that as well. And so I saved up enough money. I left my job, left my girlfriend, moved back home with my mum for a bit, got online, got a course on personal branding, started doing personal brand. I was getting in very good shape, so I started with sort of online fitness coaching, and I made the move out to Thailand, and then that's where everything started to change. But that was what led me to it, was just that feeling of wanting more from life, and not wanting that dreary, horrible 9 to 5 in England where you're just the same commute and life on autopilot. So that was what led me here.
That's awesome. I mean, it's so inspirational. I know that every person has a story, and entrepreneurs in particular, it usually has a breaking point, right? So a lot of times something bad happens to us, whether it's a relationship or whether it's losing money or whatever, and you just said, you know what, I've had enough. What can I do? And I think sometimes changing environments is beneficial, right? So I bet there's a lot of people listening that are just like, man, I really want to change my life and start something that I'm really passionate about it, but I'm scared and I don't know how to do it, right? And so I think it's super admirable that you started your channel and you're able to help a lot of younger men. Matter of fact, even older men. I mean, I'm in my 50s, and watching it, there's a lot of topics that I'm super excited about, and certain things I don't know about, right? So it's incredible. Like Muay Thai fighting, for example, right? I mean, I watched some of your number one video almost has a million views, and so obviously it's hitting some type of interest with people, right? So people want to get into shape, people want to start a business, they just don't know how, right? So what was it like when you first started shooting content? Like, did you feel really ridiculous? Were you self-conscious? Were you like, what am I even doing? Like what was that like?
Yeah, but you're always going to feel that way, I think, when you first get on camera. The most important thing, and what I learned from a good friend of mine, is called Colin Yerkeson. He's a very good entrepreneur in his own right, and he's done very good amounts of money and runs an online business, and he's good in the personal brand space. I bought his course, and what that taught me was you just need to start right now. You're not going to get it right. There's no way you're going to get it right. You haven't had the practice. You don't know what avenue you're going to go down. But the quicker you start, the quicker you're going to get there. So I basically started on Instagram, because Instagram's such a nice platform for, you can film something on stories and it doesn't necessarily matter because the next day it's gone. So you can just start filming yourself every day, and you've got a very small audience, and some people will vibe with what you do. And it's a great place if you do daily stories, daily talking on camera. You find what avenues you actually want to make content about. Just make it in what you're interested in. So I started off, I was doing my credit score at the time. I was trying to get good credit. So I just made a lot of stories, and you'll find them if you go far enough back on my Instagram archive. I was doing credit tips, how you can improve your score. That's literally how I started, was talking about credit tips for guys, which is a long way from what I do now. And then I noticed most of my content was then geared towards the gym. I was in the gym a lot. I like making that sort of content. And then I noticed my content started to gear more towards women and relationship dynamics, testosterone, that sort of masculinity space was my interest. So it very much started with that, and you do get those nerves, and you don't look good on camera, and you're not particularly good at it. And we had to start that, and I really wanted to start YouTube in Thailand, but I had a huge amount of resistance for about 3 months when I got here. But I stuck to Instagram. I didn't make a single YouTube video, and then I met a YouTuber. I met Hamza, who, if any of you know him, he's got a huge channel. He's 1.7 million subscribers in the self-development space, and we met and we became friends. And he told me, Jack, you should go on YouTube. You need to say the stuff that you say to me on YouTube. And that was enough for me. That was a little extra push that I needed to believe in myself. And I just hopped on that day because of stuff he'd said to me. He was like, you want to hop on and you just don't hop off. Just do it every single day. And so I hopped on one day, made my first long form content video on YouTube. And then I didn't stop. I think for 160 days, we did everyday content.
Wow.
And that was the major blow up, the majority of the growth for the channel. Obviously you do that for a while, you do tend to get a little bit burnt out. So we've been posting less regularly recently and trying to focus on sort of different types of video content. We're going towards like an adventure sort of vlog style now, where we're trying to teach the masculinity lessons, teach the lifestyle, but do it by doing fun stuff. Because if you've seen my videos, but for anyone that hasn't, a lot of my stuff's in front of the camera, like teaching, sort of going through the lessons I've learned, telling stories. Now, if you spend 160 days behind the camera, you're not spent much time getting any more stories. So it got tough at that point. But so we're building a team now. I didn't have a team before, and we're starting to go towards adventure vlogs and exciting content and just growth and development stuff, not parties, nothing like that. challenging ourselves, why men need to challenge themselves, and then the lessons we learn from that, all in video.
Amazing. It's super cool to hear, hear it from the guy that does it from the ground up, And one of the things I think in life is consistency, right? So it's like whether you go to the gym or whether you're, trying to start a channel or a business, whatever, it's all about consistency. It's like, yeah, I don't want to go to the gym, but I do it anyways, especially on the days that I don't want to do it. I should do it, right? And that is a really good lesson, right? So I think, a lot of people, they want to start a YouTube channel or e-commerce business, and they don't know how. I don't think you need to know how, because if you just, take an hour or two or whatever you have, 4 hours a day, and consistently apply yourself, and you're gonna look stupid. You're gonna have challenges, but if you keep doing it, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, you're gonna look back and you're gonna go, hey, I've really achieved something, right? I've really learned something, and you learn as you go along. And I think that is one of the biggest lessons, I think, for anybody, right? It's not like somebody's gonna hand you anything, right? So that really, really, really good lesson. So how did you manage to put together your first product, so to speak, right? Like, did you write it yourself, and then how did you market it? Walk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, so my fifth video on YouTube ended up blowing up fairly big. So I went from no subscribers to having a video it was about 300,000 views. So we had a lot of traffic coming into the channel, and I just knew, having done fitness coaching online, I knew what this traffic meant in terms of business. This was incredible free traffic with people that loved the content I was making. So I was like, I need money. I need to monetize this somehow. I was working on a high ticket product for testosterone boosting, where we did full one-to-one coaching, send people blood tests, all that sort of stuff. That was my idea, because when you have low traffic, you want high ticket. But when you have high traffic, you can go a lower ticket. So I just refined it to anything that could be an info product from that high ticket product. Anything that was info based, we put into a course. Got it recorded in 2 days, like 18 videos, a load of PDFs, all my training programs, the supplement super stack that I take to boost testosterone. We put all of that, everything that helped me boost my testosterone levels, helped me sort of take charge and certainty of my life, put that into a product, which obviously tied in very well with the name of the channel, CEO of Testosterone. And we launched that about probably 2 weeks into the YouTube journey. We had that launched. First landing page was made by a friend of mine, and he put the videos in the course, but I made it all myself. And then we run that product without changing a thing. We've spoken about this, but we didn't split test landing pages. We didn't do anything. We did about $150,000 on that one product landing page that we just stuck on there. One time we made it, and we just stuck a link on there, and that was how we started. And now I've progressed and started to learn more about business, marketing, that sort of stuff. We've got higher ticket product, working on split testing, all that sort of stuff.
Awesome. That's great. It's so cool to hear your progress, even in the short amount of time that I've known you, and it's really great to see you move up in the ranks, right? Masculinity seems to get a lot of bad rap in the West, so to speak, right? What does masculinity mean to you, Jack?
Well, my opinion on masculinity is that it should be the freedom of a man, to do as he pleases, to have a fulfilling life, to go after what he wants, to not feel bad about being masculine or alpha, or wanting to be strong and independent. He should be able to look after his family. He should be able to guide his family without pushback. He should be able to see what's best for his family, look after his woman, provide for his family. That's what masculinity means to me. I think where we're getting switched up in the West is there's a big emphasis on men and women being the same when they're not the same at all, I don't think. And they're different in beautiful ways. And I think it's a very, very good thing. And although I think it's absolutely fine for women to do what they want, and if they want to be powerful and have more of a masculine presence and do that stuff, look after themselves, fair enough. I don't particularly think it should be pushed, though, because I think in the end, it doesn't lead to as much happiness for both parties. And I think men are being pushed out of being the masculine men they're meant to be. And I think women are being told they need to be more masculine than they should be. Why that's happening, I don't know. But that's what I think.
Right. Okay. That's a great definition. I like that a lot. So how do you think, the mental health of men these days is being affected by all this? So like I see a lot of articles about, depression and, a lot of people are on antidepressants and whatnot. And, you know, what suggestions do you have for those men? Is it like, go to the gym every day, force yourself to do what, like what do you recommend?
This is my analysis of the issue that we have at the moment, because it's a very, very big issue. We live in the most comfortable generation that the world has ever seen. We have the most comforts the world's ever seen. We've also got the highest rates of depression the world's ever seen. And the reason why that is because pleasure and happiness and fulfillment for a man does not come from comfort. It comes from the complete opposite. And before, in hard times through history, let's look at World War One, World War Two, Great Depression. You had no choice. Pain was in your life. You had a painful, painful life. And the fact that you had such pain in your life gave you no time to sit around and think about your feelings. You just had to act. You just had to overcome. Now, we live in a generation that if a man does not take direct responsibility for his own pain, for putting pain into his life, for consistently challenging himself, growing as a man, challenging himself physically, taking away comforts from his life, he will end up unhappy. Because if you pursue comfort over pain and growth, you will end up unhappy and depressed. And the problem is, the media will tell you that it's okay to be in touch with those feelings. It's okay to dwell on those feelings without giving you the solution, which is strip everything back from yourself. Go and take everything away from your life. And I guarantee when you put some of those things back in, you'll be happy. If you sleep on the floor for a week, you'll be happy to get back in your bed. But the problem is, nobody's doing that. That has to be done in your head. That has to be done as a man now, whereas before that was forced by the world that we lived in. So that is the key issue. So I think happiness for a man, if you are particularly depressed or in a slump, you will find huge fulfillment in personal growth, and you will find huge fulfillment in pain by challenging yourself, doing things you hate to do, going to the gym, putting challenge into your life, building something. I think that's incredibly important.
Right. Awesome. I love your perspective, even though how old are you
I'm
now?
24 now.
Amazing. For a 24-year-old, you have a lot of wisdom, and I would love to talk to you when you're in your 60s.
Man,
It's going to be hopefully around, maybe AI will help
yeah,
us.
it's be a wild ride.
Speaking of AI, you know, and social media and all that, how do you manage being on social media and being online versus being in real life, so to speak, right? So I know that obviously my generation, I was raised in the 80s and 90s. I still knew what it was like not to be on social media, where we had to find, things to do and, talk to each other more and that kind of thing. So with your age bracket, how do you personally manage that, right? Because it's so easy to get caught up on TikTok and whatnot and everything, right? So what is your secret?
Absolutely. My friend circle, my business circle, we all are very much aware that Instagram and social media is a fantastic tool, but if it controls you, it will wreak havoc on your life. You will not be happy. You will not do the things you want to do. So me with my uploads, I barely look at my comments and the analytics until 3 or 4 days after a video is posted. So I like to give a lot of time. I don't get too stuck into how a video performs. It's like, just produce the content. Don't worry about performance. Just do what you want to do. Keep producing, but don't worry about how that video performs. Don't get caught up in the metrics. And when we're using Instagram and social media, we just take time away from it. So yesterday we did a full day of activities. People barely use their phones. We've got different cameras that we film on rather than phone cameras, GoPros, drones. We just did a full day of activities, going out on motorbikes, going out, climbing waterfalls, go-karting, and we put it all into a video and vlog. And I love doing that stuff. That's like the best job in the world for me. So we're all, in our group, we're very conscious that it's a bad thing. You have to control it. I would recommend taking long periods of time away from it. Give yourself an hour a day, do all the work you need to do on it, then put it away and spend some time in the real world. If you have that phone in your hand every day, you will end up depressed. You will end up upset and unhappy. And we've just found that. So we take it away from ourselves. It has to be monitored pretty strictly.
Amazing. I think that is a really great message, for humanity, as I see a lot, and I have friends from in their, 20s to all the way in their 80s and 90s. And, the difference is staggering. I mean, even going for dinner with somebody that's younger, it drives me crazy. Obviously, watch them on the phone or watching a football match or something, and it's like you're not even being present. So being present, is very, very important in business and in life and everything else. It's super interesting for me to see the difference between, for example, Veza Digital is medium-sized agencies. We have over 50 people working for us now in 5 different countries, I believe, and we have teams that do everything. I mean, from SEO to PPC to even TikTok, Instagram stories, and everything else, right? And then there's a guy like you by yourself, so to speak, right? That has been able to crack the code. It's amazing how, today you just don't need that much money to start. Obviously you're a testament to that. And, there's a lot of companies out there that are basically spending millions of dollars not getting the results that you're getting, right? So, being authentic to who you are is super important, right? It's can you speak a little bit
Yeah.
about that? Trying to be yourself and not being scared to be yourself. And it's funny because at the beginning of the podcast, I even said to you, I said, hey, can you put on a proper shirt? You're like, no, that's not me. And I respect that. I respect that. I was like, you are who you are. And so, what is
That's
that
it.
like for
Yeah,
you?
that's exactly what you got to be. And I think that's the reason why companies can struggle to get it right, because there's a lot of heads that are not programmed in the same way around the masculine space and in the masculinity space. And being a man, we are, and certainly in my channel, I teach people you need to be yourself. You need to go for what you believe in, and then obviously if what you believe in is very wrong and you've got bad beliefs, that's not a good thing. So I often recommend stoicism and looking at religion, and you have to have good values. But at the end of the day, if your form of expression doesn't hurt anyone, you need to stick to it. And we need to remember it's absolutely okay to have your own ideas and what you think, because that's what makes life beautiful, when you can disagree with someone on something and have a conversation. But people seem to think they should all think the same
Yeah.
way. And I think the problem when a company goes to do something, maybe it's social media exposure, or they try and build something up in that way, is there's too many heads thinking about money, trying to stay corporate, worried about what people think. The beautiful thing about my channel is the only sponsorships I've ever had have been with guys. We had one with Loom, which is like a video software. I do a lot of my videos on there because it puts your face
Yep.
on the screen and I can go through a PowerPoint. And the CEO, we talk to each other on Instagram, and he loves the channel. So that was a fine sponsorship. That was cool. We put it on there because he didn't want me to change a thing. But because I've always had my money come off courses and off a back end business, I've never been worried about YouTube monetization, whether the video gets monetized and that sort of stuff. So I think, yeah, staying authentic to yourself, actually figuring out who you are as a person, that's the hard bit for a lot of people. It's like, yeah, well, I want to be myself, but I don't even know what that is. I'm like a million miles away from even knowing. You find that's found in the pain and struggle. That's found in the deep, dark depths. Like if somebody's really struggling with who they are, go and do a fight. Go and train for a fight and have an amateur fight, a boxing match. And that mental struggle, you will find your demons and you will find out a little bit more each time about who you are as a man. That's what you need to figure out. And then once you know who you are and you know what you believe in, then you just don't let anyone push you off course. And that's really important, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just having a talk last night, and I played semi-professional football for 35 years, and I don't anymore. And I really miss that camaraderie with the guys and going through the battle,
Yeah,
and losing and being, really mad at each other, and then on this flip side, you win and you just feel like you're exhausted, but you feel so good, and you go for a pint afterwards back in the days, and it felt really, really good, right? So another question I have for you is, obviously now you're becoming more and more successful. You're making more money and all that. I know you were just in Dubai. What was that like? How does a young guy like you, keep from spending all his money and going out and just partying, and like what type of you know what type of person do you almost have to be to, not get swayed by these finer things in
Well,
life, so to speak?
my early on story is very much being swayed by those things in life, I feel like for me personally, I had to massively go through it and make a huge amount of mistakes to actually learn. And I think, I talked earlier about wanting to be an actor when I'm younger. I think you gain success and you gain the things that you want when you're ready for them. So at the time when I went to university, I ended up very much far down the tunnel of drugs and partying and pleasure and all of that stuff, and never being able to keep hold of any money. And I realized the effect it had on my mental health and who I was as a person, that it just definitely was not the road to feeling happy. I just knew that for certain. No matter how much money I ever earn going forwards, if I just frivolously spend it and I seek pleasure through those things, that is not going to make me happy. I already knew that because I'd done it so many times before. Over like a 4 year period, I spent just drinking and doing drugs and doing all that stuff and spending all my money. And I knew for a fact that it didn't make me happy. So now that I've had money in my pocket, it's never really hard. I like spending it on nice things. I like going to nice hotels, but I don't think that's a particular problem. I make sure I budget right. I've learned things about finance. I know how to save money. Dave Ramsey's Complete Money Makeover was a big book for me that I read. That was the first sort of personal finance book that helped me save the money to come to Thailand. But since then, I just believe in investment back into yourself, investment into your life experience, and the stuff like the women and the well, the cars are fun actually, but the women and the booze, like they're the main things, booze and drugs. So Dubai, that wasn't too hard. They don't drink a huge amount in Dubai. I wasn't really partying too much. I did get a Lambo, and that was because my dad was there. I went to see my dad in Dubai as well. My dad was there on some business, so that was cool to take him out in the Lambo, and we drove
Oh,
that. That
great.
was really fun. I did get 5 speeding tickets in the Lambo. It turns out Dubai is very heavily cameraed, which I didn't realize. So that left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth when I was out there. But yeah, I think I've already done it. Even though I'm very young, I spent time down that dark path of looking for fulfillment in the wrong places, and I very quickly knew that that was not where I was going to find it. So I find it easy now. I get my fulfillment from personal growth and business growth. So I try and stay
Right.
on that path.
That's awesome. So cool. You mentioned your dad. I didn't know you met your dad in Dubai. So what is it like to, for your dad to see his son, flourish and make it in the world, and talk about, masculinity? Like, he must be super
Yeah,
proud of
so
you,
it's
right?
awesome. He's watched the channel every video from the start. He loves it. So mum will watch some videos. Obviously, there's some she can't watch because of certain different things that I talk about. But dad loves the channel. He loves the videos. He's always been very, very proud, very supportive. And even when I speak to my dad now, I've got a different head on my shoulders. So it's very good, the conversations that we have. I ask him a lot about when he was my age and certain things that he's learned. So a lot of the stuff that I'll say in my videos will come first from my dad when I speak to him. And in Dubai, we only saw each other for one day. We went out in the Lambo, chatted, and then we went to a shisha bar and we just talked for 4 or 5 hours. So yeah, it was very, very good, and we had a great time. And it'd be good to see him more often soon.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I mean, the relationships of, father son is, a whole topic you can talk about for hours, right? So it's, it's nice to see the relationships in a positive way. Many of those
Yeah,
relationships are negative, but as the sons grow, I think the fathers grow with them in a way, right? Even though they have more wisdom and more age and all that kind of thing. So that's super cool. So in terms of the channel, what are your next 6 months going to look like? Where do you want to take it to? What are your ambitions? What are your goals? What
yeah.
does that look
So
like?
we've just done a whole load of planning. We haven't been posting as much. We've been about a couple times a week recently on the videos, trying to find the style for the channel, trying to find what avenue we want to take it down. And the main things for me are I need to grow personally. I need more experience. I can't teach fully on the experience that I've got, and I need to continue to grow. So, how do we do that and also monetize and make sure I'm still making money and the channel's growing? So, we've decided on putting a team together to go and film vlogs. So, we'll be doing an adventure series. We're going to motorbike tour the length of Thailand in 5 days. We're going to have challenges for each day, different things. We'll have a team of us there, kind of like Top Gear, kind of thing, but more masculinity based. So
Yep.
we'll have a few challenges in there, competing against each other. We're going to make that into a series, and that'll come out. So we'll do 1 week shoot, and then that'll come out. That'll be a month's worth of content on YouTube, and we're going to try and do one every single month, depending on how the ratings go and how it gets viewed, and whether there's money in it. And I think there will be. So we just done our first one, like a tester, which was just on Samui. We'll see how that goes. And then we're going to build that in. So every month we're going to do a week away. So we might go climb Mount Kilimanjaro, and we'll do it under some sort of circumstance and add some pressures and see how we deal with it. We've got different characters. We've got 3 friends of mine that will be coming along, very different personalities. How can I lead them? How can they lead me? The brotherhood aspect, I think it'll be very good on camera. So that's the plan. I think that'll be
That's
really
awesome.
fun. In between, I'll do the things I learn on the trips. I'll sit down in front of camera like this, and I'll make videos like I did before. So probably be about 3 or 4 uploads a week. At this point, we've just built a high ticket, like a group mentorship. So we've now got the Triple Your Testosterone program, which is the base course, and it has a WhatsApp group. And then we've now got the Triangle of Masculinity, which comes with a whole load of courses on masculinity, dating, relationship mastery, and then the stuff I know about money. So building businesses off attention. We got a couple other guys on there that are doing SMMA. So we've got calls on that. We've got calls on fitness. So it's basically a very good one-stop shop for becoming a masculine man and connecting with brothers around the world. So they've got country rooms. They're doing meetups every 2 weeks. We've got leaders in each room in different countries. Guys are meeting up. They're boxing together. They're going airsoft together. So that's very cool. We just released that. We've got about 120 members on that now, which is good. And that's our mid-ticket. And then we're just building out a high-ticket mastermind group, like a one-to-one mentorship with me, how that's going to structure and what that includes. And that's basically how we're going on the business side, with a big focus on that middle group, the Triangle of Masculinity, because it's expensive enough. It's $1,200. So that one's enough for us to put some real good time and investment into that. And you get a weekly call with me on like a Zoom. So 100 guys will jump on. But normally not every 100 that come on. We normally get about 25, 30 on there. I'll Q&A with them, answer questions about YouTube growth, that sort of stuff. So we get a lot of that going on, questions about relationships, and then just meeting the guys, really. So we got a Koh Samui meetup coming up. They've obviously connected with me through the group. We've got a Thailand room, so anyone who's in that course, we put on every 2 weeks a group in Thailand. We'll get together, dinners, paintballing, that sort of stuff. So the business side's exciting now.
Amazing.
I just want to make it fun. Let's learn a lot. Let's make money. Let's network. Let's have fun. That's what the brand's about, really, and growth, personal growth.
That's awesome. I mean, at the end of the day, that really is what life's about, right? Having fun, right? Whether it's business or going to the gym or whatever, it has to be fun. If it's not fun, it's just, and yeah, you don't feel like going to the gym all the time, but when you leave, every time I leave the gym, I feel, rejuvenated. It feels like fun, at some point, right? I mean, even though you have to, do your work and whatnot, right? So amazing. I mean, I can't wait to see your adventures. I mean, I think that content is just gonna be king. That's exactly how you
I'm
do it. So
looking
that's
forward
awesome,
to it.
man.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see. Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. So I usually ask my guests the following question: if you were in my shoes, what question did I not ask you?
You've asked some very good questions, Mario. It's been a great conversation, and the stuff I really like talking about. The only things I would ask me is, I talk a lot, and you know about this, about women, but I don't know if it particularly goes with the type of podcast you have. But I would ask me questions about women, because I've got a lot to say about that sort of stuff, and the way relationships are pretty badly skewed across the West, and how that has changed for me, and the stuff I've learned. I've learned a lot about relationships, and how personally I manage them and run them now, and I found a lot more fulfillment in that with the way I am now compared
Right.
to what I did before.
Right.
So that would be the only thing I'd ask, is something about relationships, how to build a good relationship, or how to
Yeah.
get chicks.
Totally. Well, I think that topic is maybe another podcast because we can probably talk about that for
Yeah,
an
I
hour
think
or
so.
2 hours. I think it doesn't just have to be relationship with women. It also relationships with anybody, right? I think again, the foundation of any business, any kind of life that you enjoy is relationships, right? It's very important to actually sit down face to face if you can, and share a coffee and talk about the talk about life. It doesn't have to be anything that you need to figure out, but I think that from a mental health perspective, that is so
Mm.
important. And I think that a lot of countries have it uh, not figured out because they do it naturally. I mean, you go to Eastern Europe, everybody's out having coffee. You go to different places in the Middle East, they're having tea, they're getting together. It's not become this thing where you have to book people in to go and have a cup of coffee, right? So I think that's another topic which I think I'm super happy to explore. But other than that, I think I really enjoy talking to you. I'm super impressed with what you've done. I'm following you, obviously, and anytime you need some help, I'm here for you to mentor and anything like that. But yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Jack. We'll see you soon. We'll
Good man,
talk
Mario.
soon.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, brother.